Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Dallas Musicians Talk Show. Please something like that.
Can we keep that in?
Welcome back to the Musicians Talk Show podcast. It's episode 106. I'm one of your three co-hosts for the day, Dallas Dwight.
And I'm Matt Tolley.
I'm the guest, Rahsaan Lacey. I'm in the new guest corner.
I actually didn't even know he was going to be here. I didn't know that he was part of this now. Okay.
Yeah, so he's replacing you starting next week.
Next week. After the background check.
You know what? I realized I have to look this way to look at Matt, and I got to look up to look at Rahsaan.
That's what I was thinking. I got to look up.
You have to look
right
up at it.
I'm actually
perfect.
There's
Rahsaan looking down on me.
There's a green screen behind me. I'm actually hanging from the ceiling right now.
Right.
We've got that blind green screen.
Of all the things we could have chosen to put in the green screen, we chose the window and the bookcase.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's got to be normal. You don't want to freak anybody out.
Exactly. Anyways,
let's do it.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it.
As always, Musicians Talk Show brought to you by Deer Park Water.
Never has been brought to you by that and never will be brought to you by that.
Well,
I can't say it never will be. Maybe one day.
So when were you going to tell me about this corporate sponsorship?
Yeah,
because,
we made a joke a few episodes
These
ago.
are
Like,
fake
let's just like start saying it's like brought to you by Apple. It's like the biggest companies you can ever like. The Musicians Talk Show podcast brought to you by Google.
If you really want the FCC on your case, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Cease and desist orders coming out left and right.
For real.
14 people heard that you. Anyways, we got a weekend review to do, right?
Yeah, we
Matt,
do.
what you got?
Been writing. I've been doing a lot of writing. Not really anything to report, unfortunately. But I know you guys do. Well, that's the way you guys.
We got a little something.
Weekend
let's go with it.
Weekend itself was pretty slow. Not much going on. But Thursday night we had a bless you.
Thank you.
We had a small rock gig, which I don't think we've even played in this band yet. This is the first time in this band we've done it. I've been playing those kind of gigs since I think the first one I played I was 14.
Right.
And New Brooklyn Tavern in Columbia, and I've played New Brooklyn probably 50 times throughout the years. And
that's just like Skylark is a cool rock.
Skylark's a lot like New Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's not as like equipped for music, I don't think, ironically.
It's very, very small. You know, it's interesting. It like started out. So that was like my fourth time, maybe fifth time playing there.
My first.
Yeah, it's Dallas's first. And it's like a really tiny rock club. It used to be called The Station, basically up until a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And
but it was basically the same thing.
There was no stage and there was no like sound system.
Oh, well, it's only like a 6-inch stage now.
Yeah, I know.
Not much anyway.
So it
we
wasn't
got 6
like
people on that stage.
I know.
We somehow did it with like plenty of room to move around, you know, for
Putting those drums in the corner helps, getting them back in the corner like that.
Yeah. But they used to have like just these two 15-inch mains, if that might have been a little bit generous, and then that was it. So we at least had more subs, and we at least had a sound guy sometimes.
Half the time. It's so funny, dude. You'd look like something would be like clearly wrong with the sound, like the singer would start to sing and you couldn't hear him. It was like it was like so obvious that like everyone in the room realized it, and you turn to look back at the sound booth and there's no one there. So he's like outside smoking a cigarette. Right. It's just like, okay.
Was like a cable issue or something?
No, just bad sound in that. Just horrible sound.
Poor engineering and poor effort.
Shit. I couldn't hear any of the singers all night.
Yeah, that was tough. There was no EQing, and the whole thing was like, it was one of the ringiest shows I've ever been to. Just period.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, but it was all right. It was good to get our feet wet in the local scene and like just
how was the turnout
experience.
For it?
The turnout
was the bands.
The bands.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, literally the bands. Oh man, the first band though. So
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. So it was
I
a little bit about
this.
Matt.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it.
It was a punk band. They will go unnamed.
They were good.
I felt really bad. But
I liked them.
they had great riffs.
Good riffs.
They had good
vibe.
riffs. They had like this kind of cool Thin Lizzy thing going on.
Yeah, for sure.
But
they did.
I love a lot of guitar harmonies and the vocal work too was like very Thin Lizzy. Like I dug the sound a lot. And the drummer was so solid, man. I kept on forgetting that he was there.
I'm trying to remember who the drummer was for that one.
He was the guy with the Clover Guinness, basically. But like he was so like just rock solid. I kept on thinking, oh yeah, there's a drummer here. Like they're not playing to a machine or anything. But the one sore thing that kept on sticking out was song number one.
Song number one, literally
bass
like
player
4 bars into the song.
like right away, the bass player breaks his A string.
That's crazy.
Which, for those of you who aren't familiar, the A string is like the second most important string.
Thickest string. The second thickest. Forget about importance, thickest. And the whole rest of the night, like, this dude had no clue how to play bass.
Yeah,
like,
so he was having to like figure out like, okay, so normally let's say I play 3 on the E string and then I play 5 on the A string. But he didn't have an A string, so he had to try to figure out 3 to 10. Right. Only he didn't get 10. He got
didn't
11,
get 10. He
9,
would get 11.
8. He was everywhere but 10.
Everywhere but there. Like, he would end up like completely out of key, and he didn't have a tuner, of course.
And the worst part, like, here's what I kept hoping would happen. I was hoping they would just stop like drawing attention to it. But the singer kept apologizing profusely into the mic.
Oh yeah,
which was super.
No, the singer was a guitarist.
So it was super cringy. It'd be like if Kyle was messing up and you were just apologizing to everyone.
Kyle
like,
sucks so
like
bad.
How would that make Kyle feel?
Sorry, Kyle's got a broken string. Sorry,
and it was
so
really,
much.
It was really hard to watch. Like the bass player was like so crestfallen. It was like I wouldn't be surprised if he was like holding back tears.
He felt so defeated,
man.
you know, and
because he knew like I'm not playing my best.
What am I gonna do? Yeah. No, I bet that's a shocking
Even
moment.
so, when he was like, he got a lot of it right. And when he got it right, it sounded awesome.
Yeah.
It sounded good.
Well,
in those situations, though, like, it's just really, you gotta, you remember when he, the singer, too, asked if anybody
this is such like a local rock show thing.
Yeah.
Also, the thing you called, which we'll talk about in a minute. But, yeah, you called it like 6 months in advance, and it came true to a T. But anyway, yeah, so the singer over the mic goes, hey, we just broke bass. Does anyone have a bass? Does anyone have a bass we can borrow? And like everyone's silent. And he's like, does anyone have a bass string? And everyone's silent.
Yeah.
And then one of us, I don't remember who, goes, what? I think it was Colton. He goes, what tuning are you in?
Mozart, yeah.
And he said standard. And everyone it's just silent. And then the singer just busts out laughing. He goes, no one plays in standard. That's hilarious.
Exactly.
Because you can't just borrow my bass. Like you could borrow Rahsaan's. Like let's say Rahsaan was okay with that.
Right.
First of all, it's a 6 string. Second of all, it's down a half step or whatever.
Yeah, like if I can see that you can't make your way around the E string, like I'm not going to put you in that position at all. That's just going to make it worse. Yeah. And your singer's already upset enough with you that your gig is on the line.
Yeah, that goes back to have a backup or have some strings. Have a backup. Like I have a pack of strings in my case.
So you know what's funny too? When I went to set up, I found the broken string. That thing looked like. I'm surprised I didn't get tetanus from it. I called it. I was like, this guy probably hasn't changed his strings this presidency.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like
probably
some people don't believe they have to.
Since he got the bass. Yeah.
Some people don't believe they have to.
Some people
that's
really
so funny
don't.
That you can hold a belief that's just like
not true.
It's just like not. It's like
there's no validity to it.
You can't believe something.
Yeah.
It's like
it was.
You know what? I don't believe the sky's blue. I don't believe it.
Exactly.
Or you don't get a fucking choice.
It's almost a flat Earth argument.
The string had
that's why it's so absurd. It's like what? Like there's so dude. I just saw this article about the flat earther. Some guy built a rocket and died.
Oh yeah, he fell. He fell and died. I'm surprised you haven't heard about this, Dallas. Yeah, he fell out of the sky.
One less.
It was a water powered rocket. It was a water powered rocket. Like this.
What if his mom's watching this?
Oh, man. Poor girl.
Well,
I'm still
listen, your son wasn't the brightest. Sorry.
His mom's probably like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, think about that.
I'll have better ones.
Listen, think about the amount of that draws a line between intelligence and innovation.
Yeah.
Because think about how smart you have to be
to build a rocket.
That works, powered on water,
that's living in
that
the
can
world,
get off the ground.
That's living in the technology world, the new technologically advanced world, but also not having to have discovered that the world is round for yourself, because we've always just taken that for granted. Like we're born in a time where that wasn't discovered in our lifetime. Like we've always just taken it for granted. So I think that's where the disconnect comes from. Is people are like, they're like, well, I've never proven that the world is round, so how do we know it really is round? It's that stupidity. But they have all the technology in the world to make a rocket and shoot it up. Why would he shoot himself into it?
I don't know.
Else into it.
My biggest hang up on conspiracy theories is how many people would have to keep the secret.
Exactly.
That's my biggest hang up with most of them.
That's the easiest way to disprove them. It's like, okay, so
it's like,
everybody's in on it.
If the three of us had to keep a secret, someone would know in less than 24 hours.
Absolutely.
It depends. It depends on what the secret was.
I kind of want to test this.
Someone would know.
Like, just something completely innocuous.
Within 24 hours, I'd be getting a text from some random person being like, yo, Matt told me. Like,
Matt told me you have 11 toes. Like,
Matt told me you're getting a sex change. Matt told me you're getting a sex change. Actually, it's totally different. The rumor has changed completely. Yeah. It's like, first it was going to be he's getting a toe removed, and then it gets all the way somehow to sex change. I heard Dowsey get a sex change.
You have 3 bodies in your closet? No. I told him the earth was flat.
It goes from...
Did you guys see the documentary? We're way off topic, but did you see the documentary and the Flat Earthers thing on Netflix?
I couldn't watch it.
Dude,
no,
it's so good. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, just skip ahead to 10 seconds. I'm going to make it really quick. At the very end, they obviously proved that the world is round, and the documentary purposefully waited to drop it at the very end, and it's so
hilarious.
Funny. Anyway,
okay,
so is that related to the story of the like flat earthers that were conducting an experiment to prove the Earth was flat, and they accidentally proved it was round?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's how this ends. That's how this.
That's so funny, like because
that's what you call a null hypothesis. And it's like how science works.
Exactly, and
that.
Then the funny thing is that the producers must have. Obviously, they know they're not flat earthers, and they're just like letting them go through the whole thing, and then they leave it for the very end. The way they edit it, it's just so funny to me. Like
that sounds really amazing.
Funny.
So it's almost like a punchline.
Yes, it's like a punchline ending.
Okay,
it's so funny.
So
I'll
I
watch
think
it.
the flat Earth
really
thing
good.
is less thesis on like intelligence and more thesis on counterculture. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it kind of is.
People will counter anything.
Yeah.
It's like anti-vaxxers and Facebook mob groups in general.
It's the skeptics.
And Justin Bieber. It goes back to then. Like people would just hate Justin Bieber, probably didn't even know a thing about him. They just knew that everyone liked him, so I'm not going to like him.
Right.
You know?
And it's skepticism too. Like there's a lot of things that people just want to oppose because like they see that they don't see it as fully proven. Well, they don't see it as fully proven. Like they haven't been convinced. So if they're not convinced, then they're against it. So then they make spoken remarks about it. It's like, okay, this is what I think, and then
I'm just reminded of Eddie Bravo on Rogan's podcast, and all he says when he's beat is just look into it.
Yeah, just look into it. I love that.
Just look into it. Like,
that is exactly why when I hear something that's just like, I the only thing I can respond with is, I'll look that up.
You got to pick and choose your arguments. I'll look into it.
I just write their name on a list. And just they watch me write it on the list, and I just be like, cool, man.
Because the thing with me, like,
in my book,
it says blacklist on the top.
At the end of the day, like, I just value the truth more than being right.
Right.
Sure.
If I'm wrong, like, cool, I learned something new, and at the end of the day, like, I can
because some things
have
just
something to talk about.
That's a smart way to be.
Some things just are.
Like the Earth is either flat or round. It's definitely one. I guess let's say those are the 2 options. It's one of those.
Right.
It's like hexagonal or some shit.
Right. Yeah. Right.
How about we observe other planets? How about that we observe other planets as round?
My favorite.
Just that alone. Like all the other ones are round. We're the flat one out here.
Have you seen the diagram where it's like our solar system and it's like Pluto, all the, and then Earth is just like a plate.
Flat plate. Yeah.
That shit's so good.
Like water falling off.
That's why we haven't been visited by aliens yet, because we're flat, dude. They just fly right by us. They can't see us.
Yeah, they can't see it.
Yeah.
They can't see it.
Yeah,
it's the ice wall is obscuring the entire view.
Yeah, people are watching Game of Thrones, dude.
It's like Stephen Hawking's The Turtles All the Way Down thing, dude. The Turtles All the Way Down. Right? It's in the middle. It's like the very beginning of his book. What's the book called?
There's a book called that too. It must be from that.
Oh, maybe. But there's lots of things that have been like spun off of it. I guess it's like a whole thing. But so girls is in a lecture, and this guy's saying, so the Earth is round or whatever. She goes, stop spreading lies. Everybody knows the Earth's flat. And he goes, oh yeah, it's flat, huh? And she goes, what is it? It's like, he says, everybody knows it's on the back of a turtle. And he's like, really? What's that turtle on top of? And she says, you're wasting time. It's turtles all the way down. And that was the flat plate with turtles stacked up all the way down into the infinity.
To what, though?
To nothing, exactly. That's the thing. So her fucking argument was so stupid. I don't know if
That's hilarious.
I don't know
really
what
want.
Yeah.
She was talking to Stephen Hawking.
No, it was in his book, and it was just I don't know, it's a scenario that he wrote, I guess.
Yeah,
and she's in a college lecture.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
And it's so funny, and I forget what the message, like the meaning behind it was, is that like just because you can't prove something doesn't necessarily mean that it can be anything.
You can't prove a negative.
Right.
You can only prove that something is. You can't prove that something is not.
Right.
But people get caught up in the language like so much that like they end up believing the most asinine garbage.
Exactly.
Instead of just like leave it alone.
Right.
Leave it alone. If you can't figure it out, just like leave it alone.
You don't have to come up with your crazy theory.
What bugs me the most is like we've solved a bunch of stuff and now people are like circling back and me like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Wait, Copernicus?
That's I don't know about that guy. I feel like the disconnect is in the time that we discovered that stuff.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. How do we know? It's almost like the Jesus Christ thing.
Yeah.
And I hate to get all religious, but I mean, like people like say like, well, was he a real person or was he just like was it a story?
I hate to get all religious on you guys, but if you don't accept Christ into your heart,
you're gonna burn in heck.
Oh shit!
You're gonna heck. You hecked up. You burn yourself.
You're hecked up.
You're going straight to heck.
I hope you expected listeners to be evangelized on the Musicians Talk Show.
Anyway, this is Matt Talk Science with Matt Tolley.
Talk Science. All right, Talk Science.
So that's how we got from
the local gig.
Stephen Hawking.
Right, that
local gig. We ended up talking conspiracy.
The local gig was so captivating this is how it ended up.
But one thing I wanted to circle back to is Rahsaan made a prediction. I don't know. As soon as we booked the gig, we started joking about this, and I'll let him take it from here.
Yeah, so I booked it. Oops, sorry. But it was a buddy of mine reached out to me, and he was going to get a build together that I thought was going to actually be really killer. And I come to find out like 3 weeks in advance of the actual gig that it didn't actually pan out that way. And so like a bunch of bands were swapped in and out.
Mm-hmm. Even up to like the day before.
Yeah, up until the day before.
A band dropped out the day before due to miscommunication or whatever the reason.
I think it was they literally didn't feel like playing the show.
In my old band, I contacted a bunch of bands. One of them was yours, Matt.
I wish we could.
I figured no one would be able to do it. I asked 4 bands. I was sure everyone was gonna be like, sorry, dude, no way. Thankfully, Osara pulled in. Yeah, but it was the night before. Right. Like I was like, there's no way, but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Right. There's somebody that can play a set.
There's no way any of these bands are gonna do it. But thankfully, Osara made it happen. So
yeah, they jumped in. That was awesome. That was cool.
It was cool. It was so cool to see all those guys and hang out with those guys.
Yeah, so one thing as a bassist that I always experience, especially somebody who's like, generally known as somebody who knows their stuff gear wise, is that every single local show I get hit up, usually the night before. Hey man, how's it going? Stoked to play the show. Next message immediately. I always call it. Yeah. Can our bass player borrow your rig? It's never the bass player that needs it. First of all,
right.
It's never the guy that's actually using it.
Yeah, it's never the guy that's asking. It's
it's always the guitar player or my point of contact, whoever I booked it through.
Does that mean they don't have a bass period? Like
no, the bass rig, like the actual amp.
So the amp is usually the thing. Yeah.
For the past almost 2 years, I've been going completely direct. I own one amp that I don't even go anywhere with because there's no point. I just record with it
and you use that whenever I need it. That little floor.
Yeah, it's just out of my pedal board.
That thing's great.
So I'm just like, the text message thread basically read, "Hey, can we use your rig?" It was 7:30 the night of the gig. You could have.
Gig started at doors opened at 8.
Doors opened at 8. It was 7:30, and I was on my way there.
And you showed me the text. I just died laughing.
Yep.
And so I said I'm going direct through my pedal board.
Yeah.
Hey, what kind of pedal board is it? It's a whole chain going through a radio DI. Like
I'm not letting you stomp.
So what's so much easier to do is just say, hey man, no, I don't think so. Sorry, good luck.
Yeah. Like I didn't have a problem.
You
with
don't have to be like. You don't have to be nice. That's just how it is.
No, you're not obligated to let anybody use your gear. And it's actually recommended to not, because most likely it's going to bite you in the end. It doesn't matter if you're doing a nice thing or not. Yep. People using your shit, like whatever they do is and then the best thing is when somebody wants to borrow your guitar or your instrument and they go tuning it up like fucking 2 octaves or stuff like that. Oh, whoa, tune my fucking instrument.
Especially your like Lock Floyd, like
right? Or that's another thing.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
don't do that to somebody else, man. Like,
I've handed my guitar to somebody and they immediately try to start tuning.
Well, never hand someone the actual instrument.
Yeah, no.
If they use the amp or something, that you could argue is too personal. But
yeah, so I eventually just told him like use your own cables, use your own cables, and it's fine. So sound check rolls around, and I warned the bass player. I was like, all right, so this is not going to sound like an amp. Right. You are not going to know how to get a good sound out of this. Let me know and I can help you. And of course, I was like, this I use a programmable Sans amp. It's 3 channels, so everything is very specific to what I need and nothing else.
Yeah.
And so he's like, sound checking and they're not getting enough juice, and he's like, can I just bump up the level here? I'm like, no, because you're gonna accidentally save that setting. Here, let me show you how to do it. And then it sounded right. It's just like, bring your own amp so you know what you're gonna need.
Yeah, and it's so easy for them to fuck your shit up. That's the
so like my dad used to say this to me, and it was so frustrating to hear in the moment, but it's so true when you're on the other end of it. Lack of preparation on your end does not create an emergency on mine.
Right, exactly.
And like, because anytime I was not prepared for something, he would be like, "Look, I'll help you when I get to it."
Exactly.
Like, and I'm like panicking, like, "I need it now." He's like, "I don't care."
Right. That's
you got yourself here, and now you're gonna wait on me.
Yeah.
And that's super frustrating. But that kind of applies when you're in the moment. But it makes so much sense on the other side. But that applies to this. Like, hey, dude. I brought my shit.
Exactly. You want to derail my project? You want to derail my situation because now we're both fucked. So it's like you got to just take care of one thing at a time.
This whole problem started way before the moment we're standing here right now.
Yeah. So the story that I got too is that the guy was robbed, and it was like, well, were you robbed yesterday? Were you robbed today?
Were you robbed like on the way to the gig?
Were you robbed on the way to the gig? Like, again, goes back to
was every local bass player in existence robbed? How is this every show?
It's just that local bass players don't invest in their gear, so they see people like me, they see my stuff, and they're just like, oh, I can just plug into that and it's automatically going to sound good. I don't need to even lug my amp through. And it's
how about one time we played a gig and our bass player forgot his bass. Yeah. He showed up, like, we're all standing around. And we're like, all right, dude, let's sound check. And he's just like, oh.
Yeah.
I forgot my bass.
Yeah. We played a gig one time with a guy who didn't have a rig, so it was that already. And then also didn't have a pick. Like,
what?
Yeah. So he shows up with a bass, no pick, and he's like, I can't play without a pick. Somebody got a pick. And we're just laughing. Like, on stage, he's asking for a pick.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're on stage. And there was a headliner. It was sad.
Yeah.
Another fucking really awesome one. We got this gig offer, this band that was going to fly over from Sweden or something. They had the place booked. They had the thing set up and all that. And they're just like, yeah, we just need to borrow your drums, though. Like, we're not bringing up. I'm like, whoa, like, and your half stacks, too. No, we're not coming overseas. Some band I don't even know, and they're going to borrow all of our gear, our whole setup. No.
Yeah.
So that was another thing.
Yeah.
They're just looking for a way to not have to rent gear. You know what I mean? They're doing it on a budget.
Yeah, of course.
I get that they don't have the money.
But there's
we'll just fly over there and use everyone else's stuff.
That's right.
But there's a certain way to approach that too. Instead of like, oh, we'll need, you could say like, is there a possibility for backline?
Right.
It's all in how you say it. Because if it's just like, hey, is it possible that we could backline work something out?
No, that is kind of how they said it. But at the same time, like, I didn't realize what they, like, I thought they were like a legit band going on tour, and I thought they had all their shit.
They probably did too.
Doing us a favor by letting us jump on. It turns out they were like grasping for something, like to get a overseas tour is what they were trying to do. That was a different,
kind of thinking
just for
so
clout.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
they're going to headline too on our gear. No, thanks.
No.
That's not clout though. Like,
no, exactly.
It's not clout to go spend $1,600 in plane tickets to play to an empty room.
Exactly.
Like, that's not clout.
Exactly. They're not going to draw a crowd. Right.
You're not going to draw a crowd.
But the home crowd in
you
Sweden
probably suck to begin with.
Exactly. So, I didn't really particularly love their music.
Bands that are good don't make decisions like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing it the smart way.
Definitely bands that last don't make decisions like that, because that's just tossing money away. That's
really dumb.
Just put a bunch of euros into a bonfire at that point.
Yeah, I mean, imagine when they got here and like things went wrong, like anything went wrong. Just like, that's a lot.
Imagine if their visas didn't work out.
Right.
Like, forget about getting here.
Right.
How to start by getting your visa straightened out.
That gives me anxiety just to think about the lack of preparation that goes into that.
I want to play overseas, but man, like we got to do it.
Yeah,
right.
but you don't want to do it just to say you did it. You want it to work out.
And in fact, I think I'd rather do a festival overseas first if you can land that kind of thing. If you could like get on some kind of big like.
I want to do a cruise ship, so you don't have to deal with a lot of the passport stuff.
Right.
Most of them go to the Virgin Islands.
As long as you don't get off the boat when you get there or whatever, too. Like if you go to a fucking country that you can't get, you can hang out on the boat the whole time.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. So anyways, and that's cool because you get to meet your fans and like play music and then go like meet the people who dug the show. They're all hanging out.
Oh yeah.
I've heard from comedians mostly on like podcasts and stuff
when they do the cruises.
That's the worst part about it. Like,
I
think Bill was saying like it was just the worst part is like finishing your show and then sitting down next to a fucking guy that was just there. Like, that's the worst fucking thing. Like,
of course, Bill Burr would hate that.
It's like saying goodbye to somebody
some jackass
and then you
just sitting there next to you. Like, buy a bill. Like,
yeah.
Like, I would like.
We even experience that now too.
I would
it's just
like
the
that,
worst.
I like hanging. I generally like hanging out afterwards. I don't like the part where they talk about me, but I do like people who like the same things I do, at least in that way, in that regard. Like they at least like the same kind of music I do, kind of. And I'll have a beer with them. And
I've just noticed good conversation. From the gigs we've played, most of the time the people left when we're done are not my crowd.
No,
they're not. They're fucking falling off bar stools, vomiting in the bathroom.
That's my crowd.
I'm fucking out of here, dude. These people
even the early shows, like all they want to do is talk about what you just did, which I understand, but it's just like
that I don't like. I don't really want to talk
at this show. Okay, here's a new thing that I realized makes me just like blood red mad. So someone comes up
blood red mad.
After the first song. That's what Chris D'Elia is saying.
Oh!
Someone after
blood
the first song, someone comes up to the stage and goes, "Hey, let's talk." And she goes and she starts to say this.
Matt, you know this person.
She starts to go, "You're too loud. The vocals are too quiet. It's too harsh." She's still like just giving us all this like rundown. I was like, I'm gonna kick you in the teeth.
If
you don't know this person.
It's not something you do yelling from the front.
She came in with another friend of hers that always comes to our gigs. Mm-hmm. Like, bless him for staying committed and still never buying any merch or anything or supporting us directly. But they sure do
like he does.
They sure do love to drink in the same room as us when we're playing. But they were just they had a whole crew out. It was the guy's birthday.
Okay, so it was the bands. You asked how many people were there. It was the bands and these people.
And that
this was at this recent show.
This was at Skylark,
yeah. Okay.
And they were the sloppiest I've ever seen.
Sloppy drunk?
Them.
Yeah.
And they have very little shame when it comes to keeping it together. And that particular night, like it was somebody's birthday, probably 49th or something.
Sure, big
and they were just going wild, for no reason on a Thursday. I'm just like, don't you guys have any?
That's what you need at your shows, though. Don't even think about that. Just that's what you need at your show. Period. Deal with it.
If you come up and tell me how to mix my show, I don't want you in my fucking show.
Yeah,
I'm not listening to that shit.
You can't even hear her anyways.
Let me see your fucking audio degree. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like,
there's no part of that.
I've definitely had people tell me that, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't agree, and then had to
now I fully understand, even at this tiny level I'm at, why fucking Slash and Duff and Axl stay in a hotel like 3 miles away from the venue, bus over, walk straight onto the stage, play, go right back and leave.
They don't need to hear anything from anybody.
I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to talk to the fans. I don't like the fans. I don't want to
I think they do like the fans, but I don't think they want to talk to them about. I don't know, definitely not about how the sound should be.
So when it's like, first of all, what would they even know about that? It's like, dude, I don't know. I fucking play guitar, I hear it in my ears. I tell the guy to do it and does it. I don't know. Like,
right, exactly.
I have 400 people working for me.
When you're at that level.
I've met like a couple YouTubers and stuff, and some of my friends have gotten like, multiple millions of subscribers on YouTube, and talking to them, like, I kind of get a glimpse into like how actual like quote famous people think of like their fans. It's not what you would want it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope even fucking Tom Segura, dude. Tom Segura is the same way. And they won't say it in public because why would they? Because you're a fan.
Right.
So they're literally shitting on you. You're never gonna hear them say it. But behind closed doors, I guarantee you, they're like, these fucking animals.
You know what?
I can't stand them. Like,
but in a way, it's important that they exist because their lifestyle is dependent on those people.
That's why they would never say it out loud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that does not mean they're not thinking
it. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. That kind of thing.
Exactly. So they think they can't look at it from an above status. Like they can't necessarily. Like they can if they look at their actual status and their income. So
I would
can't
argue,
look at it like you're above them because they are.
It's tempting.
No, I would argue they're not looking at them like they're above them. They're looking at them like they're on the same field. Like, hey, I don't fucking like this guy. He paid tickets to come into my show, and that's awesome. But I don't fucking like this guy as a guy to a guy.
Right.
Like,
and you don't necessarily have
annoying,
to. If you're making art, you're not necessarily making. Like it's not going to depend on. The people of the world are just the people of the world. That's who's out there catching this shit. Who's listening to the music we make, who's listening to the comedy they make, and it's that's just what's out there. It's not like you can be mad at them for being for liking your stuff. You can't be mad at them for that, but it's obviously
not at all. You wouldn't.
Right.
You would be mad at them for being above and beyond annoying.
Exactly. It's just weird. It's a weird dynamic.
But another thing, I think D'Elia says
you.
this. Can you tell I listen to comedy podcasts? It's pretty much all I listen to.
It's amazing. I love listening to all those podcasts.
D'Elia says,
Your Mom's
and I totally agree with this dude. Like, hey, you bought a ticket to my show. I did the show. Transaction over.
Right.
I don't owe you anything beyond that. I don't owe you a picture. I don't owe you a smile. I don't have to be nice to you. Like, I did what you paid for, and now it's over.
It's so fun. That's a funny way to look at, like, for him to look at it that way.
Dude, D'Elia is my favorite, like, as far as just, like, don't give it a fuckness, which is a new word I'm coming up with right now on the podcast.
That's a nice one.
Dude, no one does it like him. Just like he'll just say the wackiest shit and like it'll literally end up in the news and he's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, and then that ends up in the news. And he's like, I still don't give a fuck.
Says he doesn't give a fuck.
Moves on about his day and like it fades away in like 3 days.
Yeah, that
like I always knew it would, dude. You never see like I wish corporations would do that.
Yeah.
Like
they can.
I wish a corporation would just once, a corporation like Walmart, someone big, just come out and be like, yeah, we said it. Fuck off.
Yeah,
and then they walk
the TC Electronics one would have been nice to see them actually back up
Satchel. Yeah.
I wish they would have backed him up and been like, you're offended by pussy melter? You're a pussy.
Right.
And then like that's what they tweet out. And then it's just
it looks like they don't give a fuck.
But then here's what you do. You say that and then you just don't tweet again. You just don't say anything for like, they're going to get mad at you for like 7 days and it's going to be gone.
If you fully believe in what you're saying and you feel like that it's really not offensive, it's not like what your intention is and all that, and you can back up like what your thought process is, then you have nothing to be afraid of. And you're like, listen, it's a pussy melter. It's a play on what they're doing. Obviously, Steel Panther is
this is their brand.
It's their brand.
80s type thing. And they live like that. Like, listen to some of their lyrics. Like, you know, like, it's just part of it. And if you can't don't buy it. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
If you don't like it too, like, stop blurring the lines as for what you're accepting and what you're not. Because like Motley Crue and Poison, those guys actually believed every word they said.
Yeah, way worse. Yeah, also,
it's way worse.
I can't imagine that a lot of the people that were truly offended by that pedal are shopping for guitar pedals at TC Electronics.
Exactly.
The people that even have heard of the Pussy Melter are fans of Steel Panther, and they laugh at that shit.
Yeah.
So like TC would have been smart. Now maybe they have a lot of marketing data that I don't have, but
right, sure.
I feel like it would have been way smarter to be like, yeah, okay, you're offended. Be offended. I don't care. Yeah. Like I'm a company. I'm not here to please everyone on the planet. Like I'm here to please the people that shop at my company.
Exactly. But I don't you see there's a little bit of a point where it's like you don't want it to be like anybody can just sell anything. Like we don't need people selling like racist memorabilia or anything like weird like that. Like I get where there's but I think that it's like so close or so far from the actual line that I feel like that's a shame that got pulled like that.
Yeah, but now it makes people like me, and maybe I'm alone in this, it makes me think less of that company. Because now I think like, oh, well, you guys are just huge pussies who cave at whatever anyone says. Yeah, and you know it wasn't more than like 3 moms that said that.
And that's where
their kid bought the pedal. It came in the mail. The soccer mom saw it and was like, oh my God. Like,
right.
Like there's no way it was any more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. It couldn't have been too much ruffled feathers over it. There was one girl who was like trying to make it a whole thing. I forget who that was, but I remember it was like kind of spearheaded by one woman, one female woman.
She's
like got a fucking petition.
I would mail
there was
her
a petition.
Yeah.
There was the change.org. Whenever I see a change.org link followed by something that was offended, I'm just like, no, this is not a real issue.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Here's what I want to know.
This is not a real problem.
When you get your 2,500 of 2,500 signatures, what then?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What do you do?
That doesn't mean anything.
What do you do now?
You got some signatures.
If I was the guy that received that, like, oh, they want me to stop? Fuck you. Like,
print it out and burn it.
Looks like
2,500 people want me to stop. Well, I have 50,000 orders over here.
Right. 2,500 people don't like it. Okay, cool.
That's awesome.
That's fine.
Anyways, we're doing it anyway.
Out of millions.
Dude, I fucking wish I owned a corporation just to have this attitude. Like, I would be the Chris D'Elia of corporations.
Yeah, I mean, you have to accept that when you do anything, there's going to be people who are against it or not liking it, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that they try to tie the sexist thing into it was only just they're trying to get it like some power behind their words, you know. Right. That's sexist, you know, like just because they don't, you know.
Well, here's the truly sad thing. They're spending their time focusing on that instead of truly sexist bad things.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's like, okay, you could be spending that energy on like actually bad stuff and making a difference.
How about women's rights overseas and you know, in those
you're spending your time on dumb
trafficking.
Shit
yeah, human trafficking. I mean, there's so much better things.
There's bad things going on that you could work on. They're working on this. Like,
there's a lot domestic violence in the South. Like, you know, what are we really actually behind the safety of our phones fighting for? With our change.org.
Didn't women overseas in the I keep saying overseas, but I'm trying to think of the Middle Eastern countries. They just got the right to drive. Like, why did that take so long? Isn't that crazy? Now they're finally on the road. It's crazy, and they still have a long way to go as far as rights.
There's a few countries where they've granted, but like one of our in Saudi Arabia, for example, they still can't.
Right.
You actually aren't even allowed to because they're so worried about their public like kind of persona. You can't like go there on a tourist visa. At all.
Shit. So they don't want anybody to know what's going on.
They have no intentions of people finding that out.
Wow.
At all. And I found that out. Sad to me. There's thankfully documentaries like based on that stuff. Yeah. The information's getting out, but like these are people that are risking their lives.
Right. And why isn't that shit being spent time on instead of we're knocking down guitar pedals?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I don't know, man.
Just for what? Like, because it says the word pussy?
Again,
right.
leave it
So
alone.
pussy's
Don't
not
buy
another
it.
word
Don't
that's
give
not
the.
gonna
At the end of the day,
that's the best thing you can do. If you don't believe in whatever Chick-fil-A is saying, just don't eat
and that was part of the thing
eat
too.
at
Is
Chick-fil-A.
it did so much better after all this hype had blown over, and they were like, "Oh, we're making it anyways." It got even more attention, so it helped them in the long run.
And not to get political, but it's the exact same thing with the Trump impeachment.
That's the way it works.
It's the way it works. Anyone could have told you that was a bad idea.
Yeah. And if you go too hard at anything,
now I fucking guarantee he wins again, and it was probably a big part because of that.
Yeah, it will definitely.
I will not be the least bit surprised.
I'm not surprised at the way it goes. I see the anytime you get mad and you get hyped up, you always make bad decisions. You always you go too hard. It's like running at somebody as hard as you can, and all they gotta do is step aside, and they totally miss.
You fucking slam your face into the wall
because you're going too hard. Like, why did you do that? So it's funny to me, like when you see people.
What's been funny to me is like in the past few years, it's just watching the silly shit that like people will plant their flag in. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, you know what? The pussy melter's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where I'm gonna die. This is the hill I'm gonna die on.
It doesn't matter what you say to them. Oh, have you heard of Steel Panther? Do you know what they're doing? Like it's a shtick. It's a joke. And it's like, I don't care. I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. And they put their fucking flag down.
And that's fine. You don't have to like it.
That's fine.
But we're still gonna make the shit.
Leave us alone.
Steel Panther are the real winners. They were like, fine, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And they probably made way more money that way.
Man, I wish I could remember that girl's name because I feel like she was like famous for just calling everything sexist. Everything like she just had that like for some like everything she did.
That's an easy thing to do, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. She's finding things all the time. It's crazy.
Not worried about fixing it. I'm just worried about just screaming about it.
Exactly.
Which really what you're saying is me. Look
exactly.
At me.
And that's another thing you notice is that they're just looking for attention. They want that that validation.
Yeah. So I'm writing that name on the list. Give me that name.
I wish. We got to find that name.
Send us
when I become an all-powerful dictator, dude, shit's gonna change.
Wait a minute, you're
change.org. Oh, can we make
change.org? Make me an all-powerful dictator of the world.
Dallas the dictator.
Make me a universal world leader.
We got to fit you.
Taylor fit you with 800 signatures.
I had no idea. And it's a number you made up, an arbitrary number. I need 8 signatures.
Nice. I got 2 in this room, I guess. Then who do I send it to? I just like mail it to
Donald
the
Trump.
UN.
No, Donald Trump.
So if any listeners know of any tailors that specialize in beige-colored uniforms, militaries,
I'm about to need 600 million of them.
Oh, can we have a crest design competition where you have your
on 99 designs?
You need to
design my new world order logo.
Just do it on Fiverr, bro. Do it on Fiverr. My world order logo.
I spent $7 on a world order logo.
Some dude in Pakistan's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna. By the way,
dude, I'm in. We're buying.
Whatever you need.
Is there anything else I can do for you? I mean, I really like your cause.
Where do I sign up? Is there a change.org petition I can sign?
You know there is.
I know there is. It's funny you bring that up, dude. The change.org thing is so funny. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's how you bring about change. It's our First Amendment.
Who thinks like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do this.
It's our First Amendment right to petition. It's in there.
It is.
Yeah, it's in there.
It is. Freedom of speech.
But then is there a First Amendment right to do anything about that petition?
There's no First Amendment. There's no First Amendment.
Fuck you. Yeah. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
You have a petition to assembly, which you can gather. You can sit in a room.
Don't bring any guns.
You can be like, yeah, we're here. We're for a cause. Here's a piece of paper.
Yeah,
to support us.
But then they'll plant people in there to start riots, and then bam, it's over.
And then
they know how to break that shit up.
And it happens on the internet too.
They know how to break that shit up.
They do. Anyway, be sharp.
Way off. Yeah, we're way off topic.
Be sharp.
Let's hear about it. Yeah, tell me. I don't know how we got on New World Order, but I'm loving it.
Okay, yeah, because Rahsaan doesn't really know who Be Sharp is.
I don't, and your dictator needs the details.
Yeah, gimme. Off with his head.
Be Sharp is a band I play with, some friends of mine who play in a cover band, and they do like alternative rock and punk, like pop punk stuff. So, and I like that stuff. I always grew up like listening to it and stuff, but I never really played any of it. Never really learned a lot of it.
Give me some
Green Day. We'll say
they do Beverly Hills.
They do, yeah. So they do like
Third Eye Blind,
all like that. Yeah, that whatever you almost
Sublime.
top 40 type. They don't do Sublime.
Well, you played
got cut. Yeah, it got cut.
That's so funny. You like learned all the shit and they're
That's
cutting
fine.
it.
I learned that one on my own. I think it was on the chopping block when I learned it, but I liked the song, so I kind of went.
Yeah, because I watched your video of you playing it. I was like, damn, Matt's killing it.
we could totally do it.
What's Sublime
Matt's
song?
killing this shitty solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't even. What I got solo.
Yeah. From Santeria.
I don't like Santeria.
Yeah.
God, that song's bad.
Yeah, dude, I like it. I love all Sublime.
The solo's fine. It was actually pretty cool because I didn't realize that until I watched you play it. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
You don't like the vocals.
I don't like the. That's the part I fucking don't like. The almost
cracked voice. It's like a controlled. It's like a controlled
fucking just
crack.
nailed it. That sounded exactly like
basically what it is.
I nailed it.
No, that's not cracking.
But you're missing the get back. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I've always liked the vibe. It's a different vibe. I get it, but I really like that beach bum type sound.
So do you guys? They have that. Do you guys gig?
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of
Amos's, right?
Yeah, we played Amos's. We played Free Range Brewery.
Well, when's where's the other one? Is it Amos's again?
It's gonna be Amos's again. It's called Stacy's Mom's Revenge because it's Stacy's mom's house.
Guys.
Yeah, it's Stacy's mom's house, and it's gonna be Stacy's Mom's Revenge.
Is that the band name?
No, it's just the name of the show. B Sharp is the band name. Damn, and B Sharp is obviously a joke. I know Rahsaan laughed when he heard it the first time.
Well, Stacy's Mom's Revenge is a way cooler band name.
It would be cool. I like that. But then you're kind of stuck to that Stacy's Mom theme, and they're switching themes. Remember they used to do the Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty thing?
No, that was them.
That was them, yep. So that's where I first found out about them, and then they started doing the pop punk stuff. I heard them practicing when I was working at the Playroom. Their guitar player moved to California. I said, I'll help him out and play lead guitar for him. It'd be fun for me. It would be fun for me, and I still stand by this. It is fun to play those old songs that I grew up listening to and never really took the time to learn them on guitar. They're not really guitar prowess stuff. My whole thing was the hard rock and metal kind of thing is what I wanted to play on guitar. So it was cool to step back and not use learn some chops, basically some different style chops. And Dallas has already helped me with some of these songs that are they're different.
All-Star, yeah.
Yeah, All-Star, that little phrasing there.
The third note.
Yeah, I had 2 strings on every chord but 2 strings. And then Dallas was like, just add that third note. You got it. On every one of them. Yeah. So it was good. And it's just good, broaden my palette, and everything's for a good cause. It's a charity.
But do you notice? Here's a question for you. Do you notice since when did you start learning these songs?
These songs like a year ago, I think.
Has it really been that
less
long?
than a year.
Wow.
So let's call it 9 months.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself do you feel like you're a noticeably better guitarist?
In a roundabout way, in a broader spectrum, I feel like I can find things better. I know how to make different chords.
Well, you just know more.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know how to make chords before, certain chords that are a little more, I don't know, advanced, I'd say.
Like inversions and
and then capoing, doing some capoing stuff, which I'd never messed around with, never really liked it. But it's really not that big a deal, obviously. It's just,
look at that.
Yep, there you go. Going on cue. But that's,
we had planned that last week.
And also songwriting wise, how about the fact that those are just great songs, and you really learn why they're great and what it is that you can do with a song. There's a lot of modulation stuff. There's
yes.
How about just
we had a lot of fun learning the Backstreet Boys "I Want It That Way," which has a modulation.
Right. And you notice a lot of those chords. You notice a lot of those pop songs have regardless of pop punk or whatever, any of these famous songs they have some kind of modulation in the end. They go up to another higher chorus, the chorus but just higher.
Yeah.
I mean, so many songs, and for a long time.
Beast and the Harlot does that.
Beast and the Harlot does that. The song you played, Easy like Sunday Morning.
Yep, easy modulation.
Yep. So that one.
So does No, what does I Want It That Way?
I Want It That Way is a whole step.
It's a whole step. That's right. That's right. So, anyways, that's interesting to find out stuff like that, and then you take that with you. You can't that's part of you now. It's become inspiring to you. And I like the songs. I knew what songs they were doing because I'd hear them practicing them. You know? Right. So it was for me. It was just I'd play that. It's fun, and it has been. It's been a lot of fun. And those guys are all successful on their own. They're not making music to make money. They're definitely not in it for that. And that's fun. That's a nice change of pace. But it's different. Obviously, I'll say that it's different hanging out with people what their drive to do stuff. We always take shots before that practice. That's one of the things we do just because it's fun. And everybody's we're loosening up a little bit. And they rent the National Room out a few times before we play the big gig. So it's more of a playing through monitors and stuff like that. The whole experience.
Get the whole...
And it's good. It's fun, man.
Like
it's
a dress rehearsal kind of thing.
Exactly. And they appreciate my help, and that makes it all the better, is the fact that they want me to do it. So, but I have put a cutoff date on it.
Right. I was going to ask you, what's the balance with Prep and Varium?
It's too much. It's too much for me to do, because when it comes time to learn new songs, they change the whole set list every time. This time, specifically the Stacy's Mom Revenge one, it's just a slight change. There's only took a few out and added some, but most of the time they changed the whole thing. They were doing the Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty thing. Now they've done the pop punk thing, and they're just doing it for fun. So I get it. I understand they can do whatever they want, and they're planning on making original music, obviously. Right. So, but I love those guys. Those guys are a lot of fun.
What about what's your current favorite song?
What's
your current favorite song in the set list, and what's your favorite song that you've had to learn? And then also, what's your least favorite of those?
Okay, I'd say right now, the Anthem by Good Charlotte was one that I did not want to play. This is one I did not want to play. I did not want to play, but now I find myself playing it and liking it. That one's not in drop D.
Just E.
Yeah,
flat.
it's standard. But I found myself liking that one a lot. That was a new one they added to this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like we do the Friends theme. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I don't mind that one.
The intro's so fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a cool little lead thing.
Yeah, Mixolydian.
But it's just a different type of song. Like I don't play songs like that. It's like you know what I mean? Like
dude, I love that
song. It's happy sounding. It's really cool.
I did a cover that for one of my college like sound engineering projects.
Yeah. And then what's cool about doing that one live is everybody's gonna go when the part comes up,
every time.
Yep. So it's gonna be fun.
4 or 3?
It's 4.
Yeah, I think it is
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I can count. What about least favorite?
Least favorite?
Like which song are you just like, fuck this song?
There is one.
Every time it comes up.
Yeah, what is the one that I don't like?
I have those in my set, and it kind of changes over time too.
Yeah, I could probably pull it up really quick right here in the band helper. I just bumped my camera.
Well, Rahsaan, what about you? What's the one that you're just like, ugh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Story of a Girl. That one, the chord changes are so weird, dude. I cannot.
This is the story of a girl.
It's
that one.
It's just where it starts.
The vocals.
You don't like the vocals
so much.
Yeah,
that's the one, right? This is the story of a girl.
They sound just
who
like
cried
that.
a river and drowned the whole world.
I like that song. Who sings that song though?
Who is that?
That's a weird
Simple
Plan.
No,
it's not Simple Plan.
No, it's
it's one of those bands.
It's a weird name. Man, I can't. It's not on this list that I'm looking at, unfortunately.
I'll look it up. What's it called?
Absolutely, Story of a Girl.
It's actually called Absolutely. That's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I love when like people call things.
Wait,
like,
is it Third Eye Blind?
No, it's like something like that. Though.
It's only like this is their one hit wonder in my mind. I think.
I forget what Rahsaan, tell me about yours.
Oh man,
favorite and least favorite.
Mine rotate too.
9 days.
9 days. That's it. One hit wonder.
Yeah, that's definitely a one hit wonder.
But everyone knows that song.
Mine rotates too, but probably right now I gotta say Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, your least favorite or your most favorite?
It's my least favorite.
Oh,
I don't like that song.
What don't you like about it?
I think Journey is just a boring band.
That one, Mr. Brightside, I don't even play guitar for, so that's nice.
Yeah,
did you learn the
guitar? No, I didn't. I didn't. No, I don't want to.
That one's down a half step. Do you guys play down a half step?
No, we play everything standard.
Okay.
Unless it
play down.
If it is half step, then maybe they do because I'm not playing guitar on it. So for me, it's just
you just don't do it at all.
I don't do it at all. That's my drink break. I told him I was like, I don't want to like learn.
You should start playing a game. Here's what you should start doing during that song. Play a game.
Okay.
How many beers can I pound?
and will I still make it back on stage?
Come back on the next song and just everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck happened to Matt? Dude? It's like someone possessed him.
Man, he really doesn't like that song.
If they don't speed it up, then you got 4 minutes.
Yeah. You know what's one of my favorites too? I should say, Semi-Charmed Life. I get to sing on that one.
I like that song a lot.
Yeah.
I like Closing Time a lot. That's a good song.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Piano, dude, come on. How can you play that simple piano part and make it sound so awesome?
Our piano player is awesome. Rich Millard. He's awesome, and he's like a hired gun just to come in and play with shows. So he just shows up for the National Room gigs or National Room rehearsals.
Why are you doing that? That sounds like something you could do.
The piano?
No, the showing up for the National Room.
Oh yeah, because I don't know. I think it helps to have our guitar parts arranged beforehand. Where the piano is just going to be the piano. We pretty much count on him to just play it like the record. He does an awesome job,
right?
And when there's no piano in something, he just lays back pretty well. So he's a pro. Older gentleman who's definitely good. He's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yep. And his son is amazing too. He's actually a blind guitar player, singer, songwriter, and he's amazing. Cool. Yeah. He opened for our last show. Anyways, that's fun. And we're always doing that for charity, which I like.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like the cause, I can get down with that. So I
think my least favorite might be 1 week right now.
1 week since you looked at me. Yeah, I've never really liked that song. It's always sound
no, I don't like it. And what's frustrating is like everyone knows it 30%. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows it's been 1 week.
Right. So then it's after that. That's too much. That's just too much, right?
The verses. It's like, what the fuck? Like Goliath didn't even know it. Like, come on. Like
that's hard. That's a lot of lyrics.
Goddamn million lyrics. I'm just watching everyone's mouth move like incorrectly, and it just makes me cringe so hard.
And none of it's really like that moving. Like the lyrics that he's talking about, fried chicken, blah 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 blah. Like what's he talking about?
Chinese. Yeah.
What's he even talking? It's not like meaningful.
No one wants to hear that song except for the "It's Been" and then the chicken China, the fried Chinese. I can't even say it right.
Yeah,
but that's it. There's like no point playing it.
This fucking guy at one point was sitting in a studio writing these lyrics down on a pad and going, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anytime I hear something really stupid, that's what I think of. I think of the moment where like 4 or 5 producers are all in the room like, fuck, you got it, dude.
Have you ever, all right, so here's a funny, interesting thing. Have you ever come up with a lyric and then wrote it down and thought about how different it looks than what it actually sounds like? Because usually you come up with a lyric, if you come up with it in your singing voice, like in that time, you're listening to something, right? So you have like a melody, that's the whole thing. But then you take that and you write it down, take all the emotion out of it essentially, and you just put it on paper. And all of a sudden it seems so two-dimensional, and like you're like, does that have any meaning? Sometimes it works out still awesome. Like you still write it down, like, oh, that's kind of poetic sounding, almost like works like a poem, And sometimes it just looks stupid. You're just like, oh yeah, like, especially when like, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Whoa,
exactly. Those things particularly are like extra bland looking, and then but they could be like that's a whole 3 bars or 4 bars where I said,
that could be a hook. That could be like what somebody remembers.
So lyrics aren't necessarily lyrics aren't necessarily always poetry, but poetry does lend itself well to lyrics.
It's like the chorus of Lightning Strikes Twice.
We can't go too into detail on it.
No, we can't. Just look it up.
We like it.
Just look it up.
We'll leave it at that. I watched episode, Matt, of American Dad. Anything Metallica makes me think of you. And
dude, that's so funny. The B Sharp guys call me Metallica Matt.
That's hilarious. They should just call you Metallica Matt.
I'm not even Metallica. Like
Metallica. Come on.
What's so Metallica?
It was right there.
What's so Metallica about me though?
Well, it just seems to be like your favorite band. Your style is
it's
kind of
not even my favorite band. I'd say Guns N' Roses is probably my favorite. Metallica, I love Megadeth.
But your band sounds closer to Metallica than
maybe that's why. Maybe it's my band.
Metallica, Pantera, kind of. But
whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. That's what I associate with.
It's so funny, Metallica, man. Anyways,
come on, Metallica. Come on, missed opportunity, like Rahsaan said.
Maybe too many people would miss it though. It doesn't stand out as much.
It's this American Dad. First of all, that show is just like one of the best shows on TV.
Okay,
it's so good, and I've ended up liking it better than Family Guy.
Yeah, me too.
I've definitely watched a few episodes that made me laugh.
I'm going to send you this episode.
Okay.
So Steve wants to be cool, so he wants to get he decides that how to be cool is you have to have a Letterman jacket in high school. Right? And the only sport he can ever even have a chance at is water polo.
Interesting.
And the water polo coach is James Hetfield.
What?
But what's so funny is like it's clearly James Hetfield, voiced by James Hetfield.
Okay, yeah.
And like the whole episode, he's like trying to explain like, my name's James Hetfield. He's like got the tattoos, and like hair, everything.
He is James Hetfield.
He's James Hetfield in the show, but he keeps telling you he's not James Hetfield from Metallica. He just has the same name.
Another James.
He just like wants to live a different life.
I got you.
And like he keeps saying stuff like, "This really gives me the feeling of playing to an arena of 80,000 people." But I guess I wouldn't know what that's like.
Right, referencing things that he could never know if he's not James. Right, that's funny.
He keeps referencing that shit and then just like bringing it back to like, but I'm not that James Hetfield.
But not that guy.
But it's just so funny that like I'm James Hetfield.
Does James give him a Letterman jacket?
I think he does end up getting one. I don't remember, but I need to send you that episode, dude. That just had me rolling yesterday.
I was just watching a thing of a list of like celebrities that were that made cameo appearances and stuff like that, or musicians.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of shows.
And Hetfield, to his credit, is a good voice actor.
Yeah,
he is. Like he's a good actor.
Yeah, he actually is in that movie that he's a cop in that movie. What's the fucking movie called?
That's hilarious.
He's a cop.
The dude's worth $300 million.
Like last year came out. Yeah,
he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do.
I wish I could remember what that.
But
movie
I was surprised because like sometimes American Dad has everyone on. If you name them, they've been on the show. And sometimes like when they get like I don't know if this is even true, but let's say like Gronk, like the football player.
Yeah.
And
Gronk,
like he'll voice himself, for example. Again, I don't know if this is even true, but like you realize like he's not a voice actor. Like it just feels very like let's go to the mall.
Yeah,
it's just like. But Hetfield, I was like, this Hetfield's killing it.
I think that comes with doing vocals for so long, and look how cinematic and like
there's a certain amount of acting that you got to do with vocals,
right?
And
exactly.
Yeah, I think vocals is a lot of acting, especially in the studio.
Yeah,
where you're in the studio
trying to portray a sound.
Axl Rose, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in the studio. Some of the dumb shit he's had to say in the studio, just like, come on, like.
Where do we go now? That part from Sweet Child of Mine was literally just him did not know what the lyrics were going to be right there. He's like, where do we go now? Where do we go now? And he's just like, that ended up being it. I'm sure they polished it up and went back and redid it really nicely.
Now we know why it doesn't make any sense with the rest of the song. Another thing I heard when they did Appetite and possibly Use Your Religion too, he records his vocals one line at a time.
That makes sense because you come up with the power every time. And
everyone says like, and he's like an excruciating perfectionist, as we know.
I bet.
So by all accounts, I don't know if this is like stuff I read from the people that actually worked on it, but he's like cool. Like it's a lot to work with him.
I imagine he's an intense person.
You're just like, hey man, we got it 20 takes ago, and he's like, give it to me again. Like,
yeah, and I'm sure just like he's just nitpicking everything when he comes back in to listen back, and he's like just nitpicking it and like, what can we do here? He seems like that kind of person. He's an intense person.
I heard an interview with Brain, who was the drummer on Chinese Democracy, and he said they were retracking drums. It was like 5 a.m, and they thought they nailed it. They listened back to it, and Brain realized he missed one kick, like in one of the verses or something. Right, just one kick in one little.
And they live tracked the drums. They didn't sample them. It's just like
yeah. And they send the tapes up the road to Axl in Beverly Hills. And he listens to him and calls up the studio and goes, hey man, it sounds really good, but you missed that kick in verse 2. And they were just like, what? They didn't think he'd notice. Yeah. They were just like, he fucking notices everything, dude.
Man. He's on top of it.
He's so dialed in.
And there's so many layers to that Chinese Democracy record, dude. That record has so much to it. All the guitars, all the piano stuff, all the fucking vocal stuff. Oh my gosh. How many tracks per
well, I could probably tell you, I have multi-tracks for a lot of them.
That's right. I wonder how many
Some of them are clumped together, of course.
Yeah, right. They combine them.
Like the drums are in like 2 tracks.
Right. So
kick and everything else.
But you could just imagine how many, like what that session looks like.
Strings, yeah. So I heard from Greg Howe actually that Michael Jackson's the same way. Because he said when he was
the same way.
When he was touring with Michael Jackson, he said after his first show with him, Michael pulled him aside and was like, hey man, you're doing a great job. Like, hey man, you're doing a good job.
Don't do the impression while you're doing it.
But he was like, you're doing a really good job. I think in the chorus of this one song, you can kind of pull back a little bit, like lay back a little bit with the rhythm. And he was just like, what? Like you're out there with all these dance moves, right, in your monitors, everything going on, and you can tell that I'm rushing the chorus, like not even offbeat, just a little bit. Because Greg Howe's not offbeat,
right. You had to be like,
how dialed in are you to that? Like what's going on? And you don't have to be if you're Michael Jackson. You have a team of people that can do all that for you.
And think about the guitar players Michael Jackson's worked with: Eddie Van Halen, Slash. I mean, he's worked with like the best. I think
Steve Lukather.
Who else?
Well, Toto was the band for Thriller, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, basically the
crazy amount of talent. Like when you're that mega, though, when you're Michael fucking Jackson, you get the best. Like you get what the fuck you want.
And the crazy part is that on Toto's off time, they then like wrote and record 4. Like at the same time they were doing Thriller, we got 4 too.
Right.
Like
which is Rosanna.
There's like all the hits.
Yeah, a
like,
prolific
Hold the Line, right?
Many Hold the Line's on their first record. It's not on there, but a lot of hit songs came out of that one like group of. I guess total 8 or 9 people if you're including like Quincy Jones and like the rest of the personnel on that. Like
the production team and whatnot.
Less than 10 people came out with 2 platinum records in like 6 months.
That's crazy.
Like what?
Well, that reminds me of the Audioslave thing. The way that came together and how fast they wrote all those songs. They said they wrote like 40 something songs or something like that in the first.
I want to hear all of them because all of them are awesome.
Yeah, I think they ended up being on the records, but obviously the first songs were on the first record, and then they had all those leftovers, and they I don't know how many they wrote in between, but I know they wrote a shitload when they first got together, just because of the bringing something new all the time.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
So
Ozzy
speaking
stuff.
of personnel, do you recognize this name, Matt?
Yes,
you know him.
Yeah, he worked with Post Malone. He did that song, Burning Man. It's about doing drugs at work. That's what the video's about. At least that's pretty
I know
awesome.
him from when Glenn Hughes took a break from Black Country Community. Started a band called California Breed.
I didn't know his real name was Watman. That's cool.
So Glenn Hughes basically discovered this kid.
Oh, okay.
And they started a band together. And then Glenn Hughes left the band, and Andrew Watt, it seemed to me, was like really pissy and like kind of girly about it because he was like on Twitter like, man, fuck, all that shit. And then now he's doing like all this huge stuff. I'm like, wow, dude.
Yeah, no, I keep seeing him doing all kinds of things. He got long hair now too. In that picture,
he's had long hair. He has short hair now, I think.
In that picture, he had. Oh, so now he does have short hair.
He's had long hair forever. He has short hair now, I think.
Oh, interesting. No, he's
all
killer
right, check
guitar
this
player.
out. This is the personnel for this.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Look at Slash. Look who played bass on every song, pretty much. Duff.
Yeah.
Chad played drums on everything. Slash plays on some stuff.
1 and 4.
Tom Morello, Charlie Puth, Elton John,
Post Malone,
of course,
co-lead and vocals.
Travis Scott.
Kelly's on some.
Dude, crazy. What a list.
A lot of strings.
Billy Walsh.
They have like a whole string section.
Yeah. Live strings when you
don't usually see those credited like that though.
Yeah, they broke.
And it's weird to see that many violins. That's like a full like 16
maybe because
violin.
they brought them together and they weren't a group already. You know what I mean? Maybe it was literally handpicked. Like
Well, yeah, no orchestras like.
Well, some are like groups that they go and do gigs. And
but those are not going to be 20 people. Those are going to be like 4 or 5 people,
right?
Like a band.
They're probably
this many violins is like they found like film people. Probably
they must have just brought everybody.
What studio was it all tracked at? Does it say on there? Because it's probably somewhere out in LA where they do like.
Yeah, I'm sure it moved around though.
Like film stuff.
Right, I'm sure it was recorded in several.
You can spit in one direction and find a violinist that can play.
So this has been well received already though, right? This album's killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only heard a couple of the songs. So
the one song I heard I was not a fan of, but I was really surprised to see that Duff was basically the bass player for this album.
Right. That's cool.
And then Chad Smith, of course, and I love Chad Smith.
And
everything Chad does is awesome.
Ozzy was on the Slash solo record and stuff like that. So I think when you go and you do a lot of favors like that, or you have people on your record or whatever, like it always ends up coming back around. And like Ozzy maybe has been building this up, and now he's got all his his people in line, and it's just, look at the lineup, it's incredible.
But look, McKagan like wrote a lot of them.
Right.
Like,
so must have been
the 3 of them like wrote them together, or with Andrew, I guess.
Right.
But I'm not surprised to see Slash on a couple tracks. I'm surprised to see Duff on basically every track.
That's interesting, isn't it?
You know what I mean? He is the bass player for this album.
That's cool.
Where in the past, it's been whoever's Ozzy had.
Duff's a great player, though. I mean, like I love everything he's been a part of. I've always thought he's underrated, to be honest.
And Zakk Wylde was not involved in this at all.
Yeah,
that's weird. I wonder why.
Yeah,
because he still tours with him live, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I feel like they might not be.
Maybe he's just busy doing his own thing.
There's talks about that Pantera. They say they're calling it a tribute, not a reunion, but it'll be Phil Anselmo and Rex with potentially Zakk Wylde as the guitar player.
Who's going to play drums?
They don't have a guy yet, but the Dime, his long
Adler.
time. Yeah, I know how sick would that be? He's wide open, right? That would be awesome.
That would be good.
That would be amazing. So anyways, the longtime girlfriend of Dime has already okayed it and said she's kind of the holds on to the name of Pantera, the state holder. So she's already signed off on it, so it could happen.
Yeah, Zakk Wylde would be a good fit for that.
Oh, of course, they were like best friends.
Yeah, they were right. And like crying on his casket, when they were buried him. It was super emotional.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Because I was never as into Dime as you were, but I love him. I love his style. I thought he was a really good guitar player, but just like the way he went out, that's what sucks.
Terrible way. I mean,
come on.
Yeah, and that's something to also. I think there's something to take away. Right.
I think it was a couple years before I was born.
Yeah, crazy timing.
No. It was in 2004.
Something like that. It was Damage Plan.
It was like December 8th, I think. My birthday's December 9th.
So the crazy thing is, I take that as like a message too, to remember that like what happens when. Or how easy it is to kind of set somebody off. And there are people out here unstable. Like we know that there are people out there that just don't have a grip on reality. And this was some fan that apparently claimed that he wrote those songs and they stole them from him.
Anytime we're on stage,
and they might have handled the situation wrong, might have told him to fuck off. Like we wrote these songs. Who knows how they handled it? But it could have been like the reason this guy came back, and that's what happened. Or this guy could have been crazy, and they could have handled it perfectly.
Yeah,
and they came
I heard it was like a John Lennon situation where it was just like somebody who just went off the rails. And
I also heard that several times he tried this and had failed in previous times, and they still hadn't gotten it. He climbed over the fence of the smoking section and came into the back of the venue. Basically, he shot the security guy. One security guy. The concert was going on.
One of the cops shot him with a shotgun.
That's how he died. It came up to him in the end and shot him from behind.
No, I'm saying one of the officers on duty killed the guy that killed Dime. I know, there.
Yeah, I know. It's on camera. It's on the footage. Have you ever seen it? It's crazy.
I don't want to watch it.
He gets on stage. He just starts shooting everybody, but he killed several people on the way in, and nobody knew because there's a concert going on.
Wow.
You wouldn't even know if a gun was shot. So, anyways, but then the cop.
I'm always thinking like I have that somewhere in the back of my head when I'm playing. Like, okay, what's this guy doing?
Right. Yeah. What are
I'm looking at this guy? If this guy pulls out something, what's the plan? Like,
hit him in the head with a guitar.
I don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna have to like basically like fall on him.
So next band meeting, exit strategy.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking like, where's the nearest exit? What do we do? Like, who?
But I take it as
push
like
Rahsaan in front of me. Like, what do I do first? Like,
nice.
But I take it as a way to always be conscious of like the people who are out there, your fans or whatever, or even just onlookers. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to rub everyone the wrong way. You should try and be nice to everybody just for that fact alone. You don't want to set anybody.
I usually don't want to rub anybody at all.
Yeah. I find that you have
very
to rub
little rubbing.
You have to rub them sometimes, guys.
Any final thoughts? We're at an hour
here,
out
of time. All right. What we were gonna do some cool stuff, but I guess we got to do it next time.
Do it next time when I'm not here.
All right. When Rahsaan's not here, it'll be more fun.
This has been episode 106 of the Dallas Dwight Project.
It has been fun with Rahsaan here.
These are my two assistants, Matt.
Change.org link will be posted in the description of this episode. That's change.org.com/change.org.
Is this the Dallas becoming a dictator?
Change.org.com.
I'm going to stop.
.net. .biz /
Dallas
.co.eu
Dallas takes over the world
/ Dallas totalitarian 2020
totalitarian regime 2020.
That's such a good word.
All right, anyway, somebody send me a link to Fiverr.
we need a logo.
Get that logo.
Somebody just sends Fiverr.com. Well, I could. Thanks.
It'd be cool if somebody just made us a logo and sent it to us. If anybody out there wants to make Dallas a world domination logo,
yeah, I need a new world order logo.
That's how you know you've really made it.
When somebody makes you the logo saying you are, and
send me the list of people on your blacklist. I'll make sure to add them. We'll see you guys next time.
Dallas White.
Send some people to add to my blacklist. Send in some people you hate.